Hi everybody, thanks for joining me for another tutorial in Melinda's Rubber Room. I am Melinda Pierce, I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I'm here today to show you how to make this bridge fold card. So this was a card that I showed at my Wednesday Zoom class this past Wednesday, and I also did tried to do a live video on it on my Facebook page, but here I'm following up on a YouTube video just so that you can go back and watch it as many times as you want and it won't disappear on you. So these are just different versions I did using different cardstock, designer series paper, and stamps and dies. This one here was done using the St. Nicholas stamp set and dies, and I used the online exclusive specialty paper. It's called Shining Christmas 12 by 12 paper. It has some amazing red foil in it, so make sure you don't miss that on the online exclusives. And if you have trouble finding those, you can just message me and I can give you the item number and let you know how to order those. So that's what I used for this one. This one here, I used the Night Divine stamp set and dies. So this is the stamp set. It's all just words, but the dies are just beautiful nativity scene type dies. So that is in the new mini catalog. And this one here, I use that same specialty paper that's online, and I use the Rocking Horse stamp set and dies. So that's this one. Super cute set. Lots of opportunities there for different occasions as well. So you could use that for a baby card with the gifts for any kind of birthday or celebration. Okay, so this time I'm actually switching it up a little bit, and I'm going to use the Grassy Grove stamp set. And it too has dies. I don't have all the dies in here because I'm going to be using them later. And I'm going to use the paper from Winter Meadow. So this has these gorgeous prints in here. This is in the mini catalog. That paper is there as well. And it is double-sided. It has these wonderful watercolor looks on the opposite sides. The piece that I'm using today is this one here. Just black and white, but I'm going to brighten it up a little bit with some of the dies that I'm using. But I really like the deer that's on that paper, and I'm going to mimic that on my card as well. So I kind of have an idea in my mind. I haven't actually done this version of the card, so it's going to be a little, might be a little hit and miss here as we go. So I'm starting with a base cardstock that measures 8.5 by 11, and I'm going to cut that down to 8.5 by 8. So this is 8.5 here. I'm going to turn it, measure down to 8. So now I have 8.5 by 8. And along the 8-inch side, so that's where I'm at now, I'm going to score at 1 1/4. That's right there. So this is actually making 2 card bases at one time. So I'm scoring at 1 1/4 and 2.5. And I'm just going to rotate my paper and do the same measurements on the other side. So 1 1/4. Scoring with my gray blade, cutting with my dark blade. So make sure you push your dark blade out of the way. And this is 2.5. Okay, then I'm going to turn my card the other way. So this is my 8.5 side. And I'm going to cut that at 4 1/4. So you have your score lines going this way, and then you're going to cut it at 4 1/4. Just like so, and that creates your 2 card bases. Okay, I'm done with my trimmer for now. Okay, so I'm going to put my second card base on the side for now. This one, I'm going to go ahead and fold the inside score lines, those are going in, and the outside score lines are going out. So you end up with a piece like that. So you have a mountain fold, valley, valley, mountain. And I'm just going to go ahead and reinforce that with my bone folder. You want some nice crisp lines here, so it's always good to bring your bone folder in for that. All right, so that's the base of my card. And then I have some Designer Series paper here that measures, you have 4 pieces that measure 1 1/8 by 4 1/8. Okay, those are going to go on these sides here. So the inside panel you can either have as Designer Series paper, or you could just have it as white cardstock. So this one here, I just had it as white cardstock, and I did some embossing on that, and then added my embellishments to, or my my die cuts to the inside of that card, versus this one here where it has the Designer Series paper on the center. So I am going to have a piece for the inside, but I'm going to wait with putting that into place for now. Again, just because I haven't made this card before, and I want to make sure that the little deer that is on my Designer Series paper is going to show through when I cut my little forest image from the Grassy Grove dies. So you'll see what I mean in a minute. I'm just adhering these. All right, so I have all those panels in place. Okay, so I'm just going to take my die and put it through my mini cut and emboss machine. Okay, so I'm just going to take a pick tool and come in here and poke some of these extra bits out. I could use my brush to get these out too, but sometimes I find it kind of therapeutic to poke all these little guys out. Let me know in the comments if you do the same thing, or if I'm just a little strange that way. It's kind of like popping those little bubbles on with bubble wrap, except not as noisy. All right, so I'm almost done here. So I wanted to add a little bit of dimension to this die cut. So I am just going to use the stamp from the stamp set. It's this guy here. And I have a couple of different colors of ink. So I have Garden Green, which is the lighter of the two. I also have Shaded Spruce. So I'm just going to take that and kind of dapple it on the background. It's a little bit darker than I thought. May not need the Shaded Spruce, but it kind of makes it look like the leaves. You want to just do it randomly. You don't want to cover the whole thing, otherwise you don't see the old olive underneath there. Okay, I'm going to bring in my chamois and just clean that off. I'm going to go in with the Shaded Spruce to kind of give it a little bit more dimension on those trees. It's almost like doing sponging on your card. Kind of gives you that look to it. And then I kind of want to make those branches stand out a little bit more. So I'm going to go in with my blends Okay, so I'm just going to go in with my blends. I'm going to use the dark pecan pie. Thought I had early espresso, but I guess not. So I'm just going to color these branches in just to create a little bit more dimension between or definition between the branches and the leaves of the tree. Okay, so I think I'm happy with that. So now comes the tricky part because I haven't done this particular layout before. And I think I want a band down at the bottom. So the band at the bottom needs to be about 5 inches. Well, it needs to be 5.5 inches wide. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut that. This is just leftover paper from when I cut my base pieces out. And I'm going to make it, I think I'm going to make it 1 inch. So you can make this as high as you want. I'm going to attach my tree zone like that. So I think that looks to be about 1 inch. Yep. So I'm going to go about 1 inch high. And then I'll go ahead and add my bridge. So what you're going to do is take this, so that measures 5.5 by 1 inch, and I'm just going to put adhesive down on the edges. So one edge is going to be glued down just like that. So I have my card base folded on that first fold line, and then it's open all the way on the other side. And I'm just going to go ahead and put adhesive down here on this panel. So you're just gluing the bridge down from one panel on the outside to the other outside panel, and that's going to create that bridge for your card. Okay, so now I'm going to bring in my piece of my die cut that I just did, and that's going to go on just like that. Trying to decide, yeah, I think I want it to be right up at the top. And then I'm going to bring in my center piece of cardstock. So that measures 2 7/8 inches by 4 1/8. So again, it's 4 1/8 inches high and 2 7/8 going across. So that will fill up this entire inside panel. But if I do that with my deer just barely pokes out when the card is open. So I'm trying to see if I can raise that up a little bit and still have my deer show. So I think I want to raise it up like that. So a lot of times I don't do a whole lot of measuring. So I just take my fingernail and bend my paper back like so. And that tells me where I need to cut my paper. So my piece is going to be a little bit shorter than the measurement that I gave you. So this is going to be, again, it's not exact, but it's about 3 1/4 inches high instead of 4 1/8. So now I'm going to go ahead and put this piece in like that. Measure it one more time just to make sure. And I think I'm happy with that. So hopefully you can see that the deer is poking up now a little bit. So on this Designer Series paper, the deer is actually down at the bottom of the paper. Otherwise I would have cut this side, wider down on the bottom, but I didn't have that option. So I'm just going to raise it up a little bit from the bottom of my card, and that's not going to show because of that bridge that's on my card. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and slide this into place. just like so. Trying to keep the margin at the top the same, the border at the top all the way around the same. And then I can go in and glue this down like so. Okay, so I want to pay attention to where I'm putting my glue. I only want to put it down where these two end pieces are and down at the bottom. So I want to make sure I don't put any glue up here at the top of my tree. So again, I'm just going to eyeball it, kind of put my finger right where that section is, and just put it right there along the edges and right there. And same thing on this side. And again, I'm going to close my card down. So this side is closed and this side is open. And that will allow me to center that. Just like so. So this could actually be a really nice masculine card, or it could be a Christmas card. So I think I'm actually going to leave the greeting off. So hard to make masculine cards. So I think I'm going to wait with putting the greeting on. But I do want to add a couple extra things to the card. So I have some cardstock here that I'm going to cut some deer out with, just to give it a little bit more dimension. So you can either add your items on the front, on this front panel, or you can add it in the back. So here you can see that this main image is on the front of that bridge. Here you can see that I decorated the inside of my panel instead of that bridge. So lots of opportunities there for creativity. This one, again, I did the outside. So I haven't figured out yet where I'm going to put my deer, but we'll do that together. Okay, so I'm going to bring my cut and emboss machine back in. Bring in my plates. So I have early espresso, and I have pecan pie. I'll cut out some of those deer. It's a good idea to have a piece of magnet sheet on your workstation. That way it makes sure that you don't lose your dies. So I just have a magnetic sheet here. And I'm just putting my dies on that as I go. I've spent way too much time looking for little lost dies to have learned my lesson. All right, so this one I think I'm going to put over here. Maybe this guy over here. Maybe I'll slide him down a little bit. I just realized I could have colored in the interior deer as well. That would have looked kind of cute too. Maybe on my next card. So I'll put my greeting down here, and that way the little deers are kind of what's it called? Bookcasing the greeting. And I haven't decided if I want to do this or not, but I'm going to give it a try. So I have this little tree stamp from that same stamp set. And I was thinking about adding some more color to the background. So I'm going to try the shaded spruce to tie in with my shaded spruce cardstock. And a little die here. Okay, so I have my trees cut out here, and I decided I don't like all that white, so I'm going to bring in one of my blender brushes and just kind of blend in some Old Olive, which is what I used on my front piece of the card. That way it'll blend in a little bit more with the front, or tie in a little bit more with the front. Suppose I could have stamped that on Old Olive to begin with, and then just stamped in the shade of Spruce, but this way it gives a little bit different coloring look to it. Don't know if I want to put those in the front or the back. I don't think I like it in the back. I think I'll just keep to the front, maybe. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, whether or not I should keep the trees on the front or just do it without. I'm kind of leaning to do it without. Just like that. I think I'm going to go with that. But let me know in the comments what you guys think. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and glue my deer in place. All right, so there is that completed card front. So the back of the card is where you would put your greeting. So again, I'm not sure what I'm going to use this card for, if it's going to be Christmas or a masculine birthday card. So I'm just going to leave it blank, but you would take a piece of cardstock. I don't think this is cut down. No. Piece of cardstock that's cut down to 2 7/8 by 4 1/8. This is 4 1/8, so 2 7/8. And that just goes on the back of your card, just like so. And that's where you can stamp your other greeting and sign your card as well. The card does fold pretty flat, depending on how much embellishments you put on. So you could probably get away with attaching it to your card and signing it later. So I'm going to go ahead and do that just because I don't like having to do the whole inside of my card. So I'm just going to take this piece while I have it already cut and stick it on. Just like so. All right, so there's that completed card. Again, the card does fold flat, so you can put it in a regular size envelope. I hope you enjoyed that tutorial. It took a little bit longer than I had expected, but I hope you got a lot out of it. Learned a few new techniques about adding coloring to your back die cut, as well as how to put together that bridge card. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'd be happy to help you out. Again, if you'd like to make any purchases, you can do so on my online store at melindapierce.stampinup.net. Thanks for joining me. Hope to hear from you soon. Bye-bye.